Tim, good morning to you. Good morning to the viewers. Yes, it was a normal, but not as we once knew, I suppose. In many ways, you can see behind me the small crowd which is assembled. It was a ticketed event this year. Others came. They were forced to stand behind the gates. They wanted to be a part of what was happening. I think the ticketed event caught many people out in some respects. It started with a crackle of drums and then the Indigenous didgeridoo, and of course it was as poignant as ever. We had the lone piper here on the roof of the War Memorial. We talked about the fact the 6 British colonies came together to form one cohesive Australian fighting group, and how we landed at Gallipoli. Of course, more than 102,000 Australians have paid the ultimate sacrifice, but in many respects those survivors returned home with injury to body and mind. And it wasn't just the survivors who struggled on, it was also their families. And Scott Morrison paid particular respects this morning to those who returned home and the families who supported them also.
Some might think that our Anzac story began on this morning 106 years ago, as quiet rowboats waited just off the peninsula at Gallipoli. And that is true. That's when we entered our first conflict as one people. But the story of those times and all the times since didn't begin on battlefields, on land, at sea or in the sky. It began in the homes and the farms and the towns and the suburbs across our great country. It's in those places that selflessness, duty, respect and responsibility were learned, where love of family and community and country is warmed and is kindled in the youngest hearts and the oldest minds.
Yeah, Tim, we remember the fact that on this day 106 years ago, it was those Anzacs who landed at Gallipoli in what became Anzac Cove, what we now know as today. But Scott Morrison also talked about the fact that we've pulled our diggers out of Afghanistan now. It's the first time we can officially say that. And while he didn't also reference it, it's also the first time we can talk about the fact that we've got a Royal Commission into what many of our diggers have endured and the support they've received back at home. Scott Morrison talking about the enduring sacrifice of those men.
This Anzac Day, another chapter in our history is coming to a close, with the announcement last week of our departure and that of our great friend and ally, the United States, from Afghanistan. Australia has been a steadfast contributor to the fight against terrorism. It's been our longest war. The world is safer from the threat of terrorism than when the Twin Towers were felled almost 20 years ago, but we remain vigilant. However, this has come at a great cost. 41 Australian lives lost in Afghanistan, whom we especially remember and honour this morning.
Yeah, Tim, it's a cold morning here, I suppose. It's no surprise there. There's a few people still hanging around the Stone of Remembrance at the moment. The Prime Minister's car off to my left, well, that's still here as well. So obviously the Prime Minister remains with dignitaries. A cold morning, but one many people are happy to endure as we remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, Tim.